Cocaine addiction, how can you spot it? How can you tell if your loved one is subjected to cocaine addiction? Is it just teenage behavior or school pressure that is making them act strange? It can be confusing to watch someone and be uncertain about their behavior. There are certain physical manifestations one can look for when someone is involved with cocaine addiction, but what of the behavior manifestations? One thing to realize is that anyone using drugs, even medical ones, is that the majority of them have a mental effect as well. Basically, the drugs throw you out of present time into something else that your mind gets stuck on. A person who is suffering from cocaine addiction can appear to be in the same room as you are, doing the same things as you are, but he's only partially there. There's often a sort of glazed look about their eyes, and they can appear to be a bit like a robot. He's there physically, but he isn't tracking with what's going on. He does not get what you're saying, and when you tell him to take out the garbage, he may pick up the broom and start sweeping. If you scold him, he thinks you're crazy because he's supposed to sweep. It all looks odd. It is odd to you. He's just not tracking. It appears that he hears what you're saying, but when you look, he's doing something completely different. If there's some kind of team effort going on and everyone else is working on a project together, he gets in the way and does very odd things. You ask him to pass the hammer and he comes back with a spoon, or something equally inappropriate. It's not that he doesn't know what's going on around him. It's just that he believes that everyone else is stupid or unreasonable and don't know what they're doing. Because they're not doing what he can see is supposed to be going on, everyone else is crazy. And, to be sure, you could easily start to believe that you're losing it. The end result is that anything you give someone who is under cocaine addiction to do has to be corrected by others, and this can consume an awful lot of time. Imagine how that would affect a company and its production. If you're still trying to determine if your loved one is addicted to cocaine or not, these are additional things to look out for in their behavior. If you already know they're addicted, then action is required immediately. The cost and despair in relationships, never mind the financial, can be very expensive if cocaine addiction is not dealt with speedily. Fortunately, there is a solution and cocaine addiction can be fully overcome. The only criteria are that a program that gets excellent results is found. How do you find one like that when there are so many of them? You ask questions. The first question should be, what are your results? Ask for references and speak to others who have done their program. Find out if their methods are authoritarian, if they use any form of drug to get people off drugs, do they go through a full detoxification program? With cocaine addiction, the body stores particles of cocaine in the fatty tissue, along with other toxins. If these residues are not removed and the fatty tissue cleaned up, the person can revert to cocaine addiction in a week, a month, even years and years later. The final question to ask is what they do to get your loved rehabilitated. This is apart from the physical rehabilitation and is a very key part of any program. He has to get full understanding of his own problem and why he became addicted in order to effect recovery, and this needs to be done without anyone else interjecting their opinions. He is the only one that knows after all. His rehabilitation and full recovery of his willpower is so dependent on this point that anything else will just continue to keep him in a position where he is subjected to the will of others, and you want him to be able to say no.
For more content like this, please visit learnforfree.biz.
Content produced and distributed by AllSuperInfo. All rights reserved.
Discover the proven formula for automated sales and success that you can apply to your business in under 30 minutes.
Reserve your seat at allsuper.info/webinar.